Hi there, and welcome back to the Creative Plumber. Today we are going to build a tabletop candle set. It's going to involve three of them. So we need three pieces of boards. I am using pellet boards as I normally do, and just because I like that rustic look or that modern rustic look, so I had to take some measurements. I believe I did these around 15 inches, and just use the miter saw, make a quick cut for the three boards. And then I will need to drill in three holes that my three candles will go in, and my candle holders. And the candle holders that I'm using are actually three pieces of pipe, which we shall see later. So the dimensions of the holes are an inch, I believe an inch and an eighth. And here I'm using a hole saw. Since I'm a plumber, we always use hole saws. I've got a Forstner bit, but the Forstner bit I have is much larger, so I know you might use a Forstner bit, or a lot of carpenters would prefer Forstner bits. And the nice thing about these is that they don't make nearly as much of a mess, but they do require removing the plug from the bit every time you drill a hole. So I'm only drilling through two of these. That way there I can drill straight through, and I can just glue all three of them together and not require having to uh, put a marker on my bit and only going in so far. And with hole saws, it's a little bit different because we use a center bit that um, is much longer than a Forstner bit would have. So here I'm doing a sand. I started off with a 40 grit, and then I did an 80 grit, and then I went straight to 220, as I do like the rustic look. So I only do the 220 for a little bit. But as you can see with these boards, there is a lot of grain. And so when we do stain this later, we're going to see the grain will soak into the soft wood and then leave the hardwood, or the hardwood seems to repel the grain, and it really pops out then. And I personally think it looks fantastic. So I'm going to glue together the two boards at first and staple them, or I guess I'm going to use brad nails. I was pretty lucky when I bought this. As a plumber, I have to put up vapor barrier quite a bit, and with this particular stapler, it will use 1 inch brad nails as well. So if you don't want to go out and spend $200 on a brad nailer because you're afraid that you may not be using it as much as you want, you can actually pick up one of these for uh, 35 bucks. This is made by Arrow. And I just used regular wood glue and glue it together, and let's leave her set up. So, as I said before, the stain that I'm going to use is a uh, classic gray, which is one of my favorite stains. If you take a look at my stain video, the two stains that I like to use are walnut, are dark walnut and classic gray. And sometimes I will do a dark walnut underneath and a classic gray on top, depending on how I want it to look at, have it look a little bit more beat up or a little bit more aged. And then this here is a water base polyurethane with a clear finish. And this just soaks everything in so that it cures it. Now, these are the three pieces of pipe that I'm using. Whenever you buy pipe, it's going to have a little bit of grease to it, so you're always going to need to wash this. And this, again, this is 1.25 inch by 1/2 inch reducing couplers. You can pick these, I guess, on Amazon is probably the best place to go. And then you can also go. Okay, so total time. Uh, when I rip apart a pellet, I get probably enough to do maybe 8 of these. And then as far as gluing and clamping, obviously you got to leave them sit. So actual labor, because I went and did something else, actual labor involved probably takes a half an hour to do the whole thing. And when you buy these, you can buy these. I'll leave a link down below off Amazon for about, I think they're about $12 for 4 of them. I don't think they come in packs of anything else than that. And as far as the cost of the wood, obviously that's free, but with the classic gray stain, and then we've got the clear coat on top, and then we've got some glue, you know, you're looking at a couple bucks here and there. So the big expense is these 3. You know, you're looking at $9 for that. So total cost, what, $10? And I'm gonna put this up on my Shopify store that I'm just building right now for $50. So if I get $40 return, I'm pretty happy with that for half an hour. So when I was making the first one, I decided that I would make a second one and then make a variation. Whereas instead of sitting on a dining room table or maybe a coffee table, I decided to make another one that you can hang on your wall. Here I am just put some glue on the back and putting in some brad nails just to hold it in place until it's nice and tight. And having a little bit of trouble with the nailer. Had to pound them in the rest of the way. So here's what the finished, or this part here is finished look. I'm just going to hold it up here quick, and then I'll show you a couple of pictures of the 2 of the ones that we just completed. Here's the dining tabletop one, and then here's the one that hangs on the wall. Which one do you like better? Tell me in the comments. Thanks.